What's going on? Welcome back to another video. Shit, I gotta lock the car. Today we're gonna go do some more trout fishing because that's all I can think of is trout fishing. So, all dripped out. Thought it was gonna rain, so I wore the rain jacket. Turns out it matches the waders. Perfect. We're gonna go walk down to the spot. I don't know if the first spot's gonna produce any fish, but my goal is to catch at least one. So we'll see how that goes. Let's do this so I can get down. As I've stated in a previous video, I did almost drown here. So I'm a little tiny bit scared of the river. Mainly because I almost died. I stepped down, thought it was going up, and it wasn't. It went down. I went down. I think I should be okay. I just want to get up to these logs. That way I can cast to these rapids. I don't want to get that pocket behind it where it's still and cast over by those rapids. That's all I want to fish. So I did get a new setup, a new spinning rod. It's the Bass Pro Microlight. And then I got a Shimano Sedona 1000. And I got like 8-pound braid to like a little 8-10 pound leader. I'm not gonna try to stay at one spot too long. I do got multiple spots along here that I want to fish. I don't really know too much what I'm doing fishing with lures, like for trout at least. I used to bass fish a lot in high school, fish tournaments. But trout fishing I didn't really start doing until like really a couple years ago. I used to come here all the time, but all the rocks are so slippery, I used to just eat shit every time I came. And I kind of got tired of it, so I just stopped fishing here. But bought me some new waders. Got some felt bottoms. Game changer. So if you're trying to get into some fly fishing, don't waste your time buying the rubber bottom boots. Buy the felt bottoms. The felt bottoms is like, I don't know how it works, but when the felt is wet and you step on a wet rock, it literally will, it's like Velcro. You just stick to it. I've walked up some of these rocks that I used to eat shit on all the time. Like if I was starting out, that would have been the one thing I would have spent my money on from the beginning, was a nice, good pair of boots. I have a pair of corkers. I'll put a picture somewhere, like probably up here. And they, the really cool thing about corkers that I like is that you can change the soles on them. So like, say you gotta hike in somewhere, and I mean, you don't want to hike super far on your felt because it'll just wear it out more. But you could throw on the rubber soles. And say you're somewhere where you gotta have cleated soles, like out, I know in the Midwest, some places you gotta have cleats. You gotta have like certain cleats, you can't do felt and stuff like that. So like if I go traveling, I can just bring my boots, spend like $40, buy a different pair of soles, and it's like I have a whole nother pair of boots. It's pretty great. It's actually really smart. Waders, I mean, you just need waders. Waders are just to keep water off of you. My personal opinion, I like to wet wade. And I just have some neoprene pants and I wear like swim trunks. Mainly because this river is always cold year round, so it kind of sucks to walk in. Let's go try another spot. Anyways, if you're ever trying to get into fishing and you really don't know what you're doing, just ask people. Majority of the time, they're going to be helpful and they're not going to be assholes. But like, it is a sport, so like, some people are going to be a little competitive. But at the same time, I love fishing. That's why I taught my girlfriend how to fish. Next spot, we got a little bit of rapids up there, coming in a little bit slower. So I'm hoping some fish will be sitting. There's a couple rocks with some pockets behind it. Let's put the GoPro back on and see if we can catch a fish over here. Oop. Put this thing in water mode. I forget every single time I fish. I mean, I'm not like the best at teaching fishing just because most of the times I don't really know what I'm doing too much. I just know how to do it. If that makes any sense. But fishing is fishing, dude. The only thing we don't like is the people who snag fish. That'd be ironic if I accidentally snagged a trout right after saying that. That has happened one time. I was fishing a rooster tail, and I guess he like swiped at it or something, I don't know. And it just hooked him in the side. But, I mean, you can't always control it. When I say snag fishing, it's these people that take treble hooks, like big treble hooks, like this, and they just cast in front of the trout and rip it. And they just try to hook the trout in the side or the tail, wherever they can. I call it scumbag fishing. People who fish like that deserve to be put on death row. So, there's these little yozuris. They're little jerkbaits. This one's like a rainbow trout color. And you just fish them the same way you would a jerkbait with a bass, like for bass or anything. You just cast them out, twitch it. I tend to notice that trout do like whenever it's more of a sporadic and aggressive twitching. Which I mean, in all reality, if a fish is running away, which this is what it intimidates, what it, I guess, replicates, I don't know the word. But it's supposed to be kind of like a little baby trout, which trout are cannibals. Yep. And they eat other trout. Usually, what I tend to notice, I don't know if it's true, at least while I've been fishing with lures, when I throw the rainbow trout looking one, I tend to catch browns. Fished yesterday. Don't want to talk about it because I just couldn't hook a fish. I missed like 12. I don't know if I think my drag was too tight. There's a rock, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, like straight in front of me, right where these rapids are coming up. Gets kind of smooth and then a little rough, and it looks like the water stays still. Usually, trout will sit either right in front of that rock. What I've noticed is they'll usually sit right in front of the rocks, or they'll sit right behind them, or under them if they can. But in that little slow area, it's less work they gotta do, so they don't use as much energy. But you can also work these kind of like crankbaits. You can just let them go down and then just reel them in. Because it has a bill on it, so it's going to squiggle around and then maybe pop it a couple times and twitch it just to give some movement and maybe get a reaction bite. But for the most part, if I'm casting downstream, like you can kind of see it just glimmers. And it kind of does like a little wiggle. Without twitching. When you add the twitches, it makes it more sporadic and it just like jumps. I haven't even felt a bite yet. I promise I'm not full of it, okay? Kind of know what I'm doing. At least here, being that I fish here like once a week now. But all it really takes, just like anything else, is you just got to go out there and do it. And eventually, you will get it down pretty good. Me and Timmy went fishing. I put Timmy on out here. He caught 5 that day. I didn't really care to fish. I was just enjoying it. It's nice to fish with people, especially whenever you can get them to catch fish. That's what it's all about. So this spot I know I can get down in. Me and Kylie fished it the other day. In the past year, I would say I have become a lot better, especially with trout fishing. There's usually, like, I can't say I don't get skunked. I have gotten skunked. But it's a lot less than what it used to be. I used to like come out here and just never catch a fish. And then like yesterday, I missed 12 different fish. So whenever I fish like a section like this where it's real open, I'll start doing like fan casts. So I always normally start my first cast upstream, and no bites. You just move over a little bit, cast again. It kind of pendulums. So if you're casting straight out in front of you, by the time you bring it back in, it would have curved all around like that. So if you keep fishing that way, all the way around, you'll cover all the water. You can also pick up a cheap fly rod. I think my first fly rod was like $60 from Dick's. It's like a Cortland fly rod or something. Oh man, I just missed a bite. But you can go pick up a cheap fly rod, and to get started, you don't need amazing flies. I mean, they're not gonna last you long. A lot of the flies from whenever I started fly fishing, they'd last me like, what the hell is that? I don't even think that's a fish. It honestly felt like fishing line, but it was in the same spot. Like a 5.6 weight I feel like is a perfect rod. Get like a 5.6, maybe a 9 foot. It's going to be a little bit easier to cast with a longer rod than having a short one. And then you get comfortable with it, you like it, pick up like a 4 weight or a 3 weight, something a little bit smaller. You can throw smaller flies. And dude, even a little 8-inch trout on a 4 weight fly rod is the most fun thing in the world to catch. Just to prove that these lures do work, I'm gonna put in some pictures. Like, they catch. I was right, it was fishing line. Look at that shit. Oh my goodness, that was a fish. Called the polymer knot. Strongest, I think it's the strongest fishing knot. What you do, you feed it through, so it's fed through. You're gonna take it, go back through again, creating 2 lines on this side and a loop on the other side. So I put my finger in there so that way I don't come off. And then you just take it and do a regular overhand knot. You just wrap around and go through. And then, the important part, you go around the bait, or the hook, whatever you're doing, all right? And then make sure everything is on the front, pinch so it doesn't get messed up. I like to pull the tag end because it does this. I don't want that on my actual fishing line. So now I cut it off. 9 times out of 10, if you tie it right, your line will break before that knot will. Let's see who's been texting me. Can't leave her waiting. Anyways, slowly gonna make our way back up towards the top of the dam. It's getting close, it's almost 11. So I'm gonna throw this a couple times out here, and then we're gonna move up spots. So that's the video. Didn't get anything. I had a couple bites. You know, hopefully this video helps someone who's trying to get into fishing. And yeah, so thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed.